Hi guys, my name is Stephanie and I am back with another video. Today we're going to be going over ways to get rid of the green algae on wooden fences. We have 4 acres completely surrounded in fencing here in Texas, and all of the north side fences get this nice green algae on it. And I wanted to find out if there is a way to get rid of this algae so that I could preserve the paint underneath it without having to repaint my fence. But in this video, we're going to cover ways to make an unpainted fence look better, and also ways that you can prep your fence if you definitely need to repaint or restain your fence. So stick around, let's get to the experiment. After searching for ways to remove the green algae on fences, I found a bunch of different recommendations from people, so I decided to test 5 of them. First up is Dawn dish soap mixed in with some water. People recommended using that to scrub your fence. I'm not sure how big their fences are, but we'll give it a go. Next up, we're testing a 50-50 mix of white distilled vinegar from your grocery store and water. The third test is going to be 1/3 bleach, so this is chlorine bleach, and 2/3 water. Don't worry, I'll go over safety procedures and some things you need to know as I'm using these things on the wood. For the next test, I wanted to try some OxiClean, so this is a hydrogen peroxide-based bleach, and water for this test. For a lot of cleaning projects, you can actually get the same cleaning effects with OxiClean, but in a safer way than using chlorine bleach. So I'm interested in seeing how this one works out. The last test uses an exterior mold and mildew remover called JoMax. So it's similar to that 30-second outdoor cleaner. They both use bleach in the mix, and they're supposed to get rid of mold and mildew around your house, outside on the vinyl siding, on wood siding, on fences, etc. For this particular type of JoMax, you have to mix it with water and chlorine bleach to get the solution correct. All right, let's get to that fence. I've marked off the 5 different test areas so that I know exactly what goes where, and I'm using different rags with each one. You do not want to mix these chemicals, especially vinegar and bleach, together. They make a gas that is not good for you. It could send you to the hospital, so be careful whenever you're mixing chemicals together. So I'm starting with the vinegar and water here, and I am sort of scrubbing at that fence. So part of the algae or mildew might be removed just by scrubbing, but I'm going to let this sit on the fence, each of these, for about 10 minutes before I rinse it away. Next up is that dish soap and water. So I'm going to do a little bit of the light scrubbing just like I did with the vinegar. I'm also wearing gloves for all of these tests. The dishwater, of course, I probably don't need gloves for, but the rest of them, it's best to use gloves when you're using those products. And you probably want to wear protective glasses also, especially with the bleach. Next up is that 1/3 bleach, 2/3 water solution I'm going to test on the far left side. Be careful with whatever clothing and shoes you're wearing also whenever you're using bleach. Of course, it can bleach everything you've got on too, so make sure you're wearing all of your junk clothes. Next up is that OxiClean And Water solution. Of course, it's a different rag again completely. We're not mixing any chemicals together, and I'm still wearing gloves. Even though OxiClean is safer than chlorine bleach, you still don't want that soaking into your skin. At the least, it's really stinky. That OxiClean smell is great for laundry, but it can linger. Next up, I've got that giant mix of the JoMax mixed with the bleach and the water. It's an exterior mold and mildew cleaner, so it is made to do this work. Let's see how it does on this fence. So again, my paint underneath that mold and mildew is great, so I'm hoping to preserve it and not have to repaint. I know a lot of you will actually just want to remove the mildew so that you can paint or stain your wood again. So we're going to go over all of these things. What are your best options? Don't worry. So after letting all 5 of those products soak for about 10 minutes, I came back with water to rinse that away. Now, I'm using a pitcher here to rinse off my fence. I do have a hose, but I'm trying to experiment with ways that I could do this on the furthest fences away in my yard where the hoses don't reach. But don't worry, a hose is the better option. I know. You don't need to put comments in the comment section. Now, here's a look at that fence after I rinsed it with water. As you can see, the section with the JoMax that contains bleach and the bleach itself, the 1/3 bleach, 2/3 water sections, it killed the mildew within 10 minutes, but it has also bleached out the paint underneath. So if you just need to kill the mildew on your fence, on your wood fences, so that you can paint or restain, the 1/3 bleach and water, or the JoMax with the bleach, or the 30-second outdoor cleaner that contains bleach in it, it is going to be the best option for getting that fence ready for repainting or restaining. At this point, I'm trying to see if my hose set on the highest pressure setting can help remove any of that mold and mildew again, so I can avoid painting or staining my fence again. Using a pressure washer with the lowest nozzle setting can also carefully clean away that mold and mildew without stripping off your paint and stain. That might be an option for this section of my fencing that is the furthest away from any source of water I have. But again, I'm trying to figure out easy ways that are trying to avoid having 4 different hoses connected together. All right, let's go back to my test boards and see what happened after I sprayed it down with that hose. As you can see, even with that high pressure setting on a regular garden hose, I did not get any removal of the mold and mildew here. So again, the bleach is the best, but the bleach is going to stain your paint or your wood stain that you've used on a fence. If you have a bare wood fence, you can use these bleaches probably in a nice way as long as you apply the bleach options evenly across your boards so that it's bleaching away the mildew, but it's also going to bleach and lighten your wood. So you want an even lightening of that wood so it looks nice. After testing that section of boards, I decided I was going to test about 10% bleach with 90% water in a pump sprayer just to see if I had better results. I was still hoping to get rid of that mold and mildew without lightening my paint. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing a mask, eye protection because it was a windy day, and my gloves with that bleach again. I let it sit for about 10 minutes and then I rinsed it away with the hose. I will say that I still, even with just a 10% bleach into that mix, it got rid of the mold and mildew, but it did also bleach my boards. So that was an unsuccessful next test. Bleach and water gets recommended a lot on these websites that tell you how to get rid of mold and mildew on your wood. They should also be telling you that if you're trying to get rid of it on a painted or stained piece of wood, it's also going to lighten your paint or stain. So just be careful. And one last test that I decided to do was with just 100% store-bought vinegar. So this is not diluted with water at all. I've got it in the pump sprayer. I'm spraying down my boards with just the vinegar that you find at your grocery store. And I let that soak, seeing if that vinegar could eat away at that mold and mildew. Again, vinegar is recommended a lot. A lot of people that like to have natural cleaners like to recommend vinegar for everything. So I wanted to see, maybe if you don't dilute it in water, maybe you can get rid of all of that mold and mildew on its own. I actually didn't rinse the vinegar off. I let it sit, and a couple days later, the mold and mildew is bleached. The paint underneath it is not touched, but it didn't actually remove that mold and mildew for me. So it was kind of a fail on this one too. In the end, I didn't figure out how to get rid of mold and mildew on my fence so that I can avoid painting. But for those of you that just want to get rid of the mold and mildew so that you can paint or stain, or if you have bare wood and you wanted to get rid of the mildew, I hope this helped. If you have any tips, put them in the comment below, or questions too. I do try to answer them whenever I get a chance. Thanks for checking out this video, and good luck, guys.